Happy holidays, everyone. This is a little Christmas special for the Amy's Cut community. And I'm going to be watching for the first time and listening for not the first time. Vlad has told me that the song is Lennon's Happy Christmas, War is Over. So I have already heard that one a good while back. If you want to watch my first time hearing it, you can check the link here. But today, I understand this is a film or something? Well, let's see. Yes, a film, War is Over. War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko, is a 2023 independent animated short film written and directed by Dave Mullins. The 11-minute short, that's a short little film, was inspired by and features John Lennon and Yoko Ono's anti-war anthem Happy Christmas, War is Over. The film won the Annie Award for Best Animated Short Subject at the 51st Annie Awards on February 17, 2024, and later won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film at the 96th Academy Awards on March 10, 2024. Okay, well, this is going to be fun to return to this song, and I'm very interested to see what this film is all about. Lenono music. Yeah, okay. This is carrier pigeon, maybe? I was right, okay. Okay. Carrier pigeons. I don't have any first-hand experience. I've read stories, and of course I guess I've read a little bit about how they're used too, and how they've been used. My understanding, now, if anybody knows otherwise, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that carrier pigeons work because they have a very strong homing instinct, which means you take them somewhere, you release them, they will always return home. So this is just one little tweak here, which I'm like, okay, it's nice. It fits the movie. It's the idea of it comes to the window and it flies back. But I don't think that's how it works. I think a carrier pigeon just goes one way, right? And then you have to transport it somewhere else in order for it to return back home again. Anyway, just a funny little observation. I don't feel like it hurts the movie at all to have it shown this way. And because I see that it's animated. And I think the animation actually fits this idea that's being presented too, because it sort of puts it in more of a symbolic, representative style. The idea that this is not a specific story. This is a parable, a symbol, a representation, something that is being told, very much parable-like. And so I'm okay with little things like carrier pigeons going both ways. Totally okay. And I think it makes perfect sense for this story, this parable, to start out with a war scenario, because of course the whole idea is Happy Christmas, War is Over. Then there was a war at some point. So this is where I am. Let's keep going. And I really love the colors used here. It's wintry. It gives the wartime, you see the... Oh, interesting. Footprints turning to red. I mean, so many details are saying so much. He walks off with the bird. Chess? Okay. Now, a little personal bit of information here. I've always been curious about the game chess my entire life. I never learned to play it. It just wasn't something that, and I guess a lot of American families are like that. Chess is just not a thing that's a real American game, and it didn't feature in my growing up years. And as an adult, well, who's going to sit down and teach themselves to play chess when there's so much other stuff to be doing? However, with Vlad's encouragement, I started learning chess this year using the Duolingo app, and I'm having loads of fun with it. So, just a little side. I actually know a little bit about the game now, and so here's chess featured in this video. Oh, and I see he has... It's where he keeps pictures of his family, too. Look at that. I don't know what that paper means, but obviously it's a treasure. Okay, so hold on. All right. Probably, obviously I don't know much about chess. I understand that you can write down your positions. You can indicate with some letters, numbers, the position of pieces on the chessboard. And so perhaps that's what this paper is, and it seems like he's perhaps setting up, it may be used as a code or something? A way of communicating moves? Off he goes. Flying across the battlefield. Yep. Are they simply playing a game of chess? Or is this more than a game of chess from different parts of the battle? Is this what's going on? Okay, hold on. Is this... Are these the opposing sides playing chess with each other? Is that what's happening? If so, I love the idea. I hear the sleigh bells. It's starting to sound little hints of Christmas. So it seems that, at least what I gather so far, the opposing sides have soldiers playing chess with each other across the lines, and obviously it's not an approved activity. It cannot be, right? This reminds me a little bit of the stories during the accounts we have from World War I, especially of the different warring factions fraternizing with one another on Christmas Eve, and Christmas, that period of time. And it seems like a sort of an undercover fraternization is going on here. Not approved. All his buddies. Okay, that one said executing full ground assault. More serious. Okay, I started to say a while back that I really like the colors chosen for this film. I like them because while they portray the barrenness, the wintry, forsaken, cold landscape, and as well as the colors of battle, war. At the same time, they seem to be tending towards the colors of the pigeon. And the pigeon is a bit brighter colored, but even here I see little hints of warmth. The sun shining on their helmets. There's a kind of a warmth, it feels like, even though this is supposed to be something that's portraying something that is really awful, really terrible, there seems to be a message, an unspoken message of all is not lost. There's still reason to hope somewhere. And I think it has somewhat to do with the color scheme because even though there's a lot of gray, there's a lot of brown, there's a lot of cold, the snow, the ice, the mist, the trenches, the barbed wire, all of that stuff. There's this sense every time I pause, and every time as I'm looking at this, I feel like there's something warm, something hopeful in the scene itself. Even though it's portraying the danger, the fear, the brutality, something about the colors. Oh, pigeon's gone back this way. Now these are the the chess players. Oh.
So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas. I hope.
What a way of presenting this story and this idea. I love it. I love the fact that, I don't know, there's this sort of playfulness about it. Of course, playing a game of chess, a forbidden game of chess, across the lines, the pigeon. And as I said, look back here, even here. All right. Here, we see the pigeon, the colors of the pigeon. And look at the scenes that are happening here. Look at the light and the colors around the pigeon. And notice how so much of the coloring is the colors of the pigeon. And I guess that's the thing that strikes me about this whole color scheme, is that there is this sort of rosy hue about it. But beyond just the colors, the story is a beautiful imagination, a beautiful, as I said, parable of conflict, the reality that conflict exists, brutality, war, death, killing, all of this, and then it's finding a very gentle way. I mean, think of a pigeon, or we could broaden it out to that family of birds, right? The dove of peace. Well, of course, the dove of peace is usually portrayed as white, but still, there's an element of that in here, isn't there? This little pigeon is the means by which peace is being brought about. And it's the messenger of peace. That's what it is, the messenger of peace. And the fact that these two opponents meet on the battlefield, and all the death and fighting and brutality is happening all around them, and they're engaged in it too, and then the surprise, right? We're the chess partners. And then suddenly we're brothers. We're no longer opponents. We're no longer this side and that side. We are the ones who have been enjoying this game together in the middle of this godforsaken scene of death and destruction and bitter cold. It's the cold of winter. Even the wintry setting. Of course, Christmas is typically portrayed as winter, although it's only winter in certain parts of the world. But that's the traditional time, right? Winter. Why? Because it's so symbolic of the coldness of our worst tendencies as human beings. Cold, bitter, frozen hearts. And in this setting, suddenly warmth arrives, and the frozen hearts soften, and begin to melt and become warm towards each other. And look here, the sky behind them, even the snow reflecting, and suddenly these two opponents, this bird is such a big part of both of their lives. They both mourn it equally. And
So
his
this
last
is
act
Christmas,
was to bring peace.
and what have you done?
And to stop the fighting.
Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas. I hope you have fun.
And this sequence of events here, if they hadn't have been so attached to the messages this bird is bringing, they wouldn't have even been aware. Nobody else was aware that it fell there. Nobody would have even known that the war was over. They would have kept on fighting in spite of the fact that it was time to be done fighting. Somebody had to be open and sensitive to the message. Somebody had to be looking for something outside of this that's happening right now that feels so urgent and so all-consuming.
And a new one just begun. And so this is
They wouldn't have had that
Christmas.
note if it weren't for those two chess
I
players.
hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young.
You see, everyone stopped right in the middle of what they're doing. Very Merry Christmas as the guns are dropping.
Let's hope it's a good one, without any fear.
And so this is Christmas.
War is
For
over.
weak and for strong, the rich and the poor ones. The road is so long, and so happy Christmas for black and for white.
I never thought of it in the context of the chessboard. Black and white squares, right? But somehow, this shot did that to me, right here.
The road is so long, and so
I love the way it fades. Okay, look. I love the way it fades from this, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking as I see this.
the rich
I'm seeing these two standing here, kind of stunned, and of course, still shocked by the loss of their special little friend, and looking around at all this senseless destruction around them and the loss of life and the blood and their fallen comrades. And I'm thinking about this little bird that's been flying. How long has it been flying? How long has the war been over before it arrived? And I see them looking around, and I somehow feel them thinking the same thing. How long have we been fighting when the war was already ended? And then, as they are absorbing all of this and realizing all of this, it fades into
for weak and for
the chessboard.
strong, the rich and the poor ones.
And suddenly,
The road is so long.
suddenly the pieces,
Happy Christmas.
you see the pieces, some of them tipped over, some of them fallen, some of them, and these two right here in the center, those are the two chess players, right? It's the same battlefield position, right? Because of course chess is the ancient battle strategy game, right? And so all of this is so symbolic and so deeply expressive. You see? Here they are, right in the middle. And then, let's just creep it forward. You start seeing some of the different positions on the battlefield transitioning to chess pieces. Yeah, now you just see the chess pieces and the blood stains. And then a little further forward, there's the chessboard. Now listen to what's being sung.
So happy Christmas
For black and for white, for all of those there, both sides. Ah, for yellow and red ones. Look, look, the yellow in the sky. And as I said, it's the colors of the pigeon, right? Pigeons are gray and white with a blue, little bit of purple iridescence, all of that. And we see that reflected here in the colors as well.
for yellow and red ones. Let's stop all the fights.
Merry, Merry Christmas.
If you want it. If you want it. And that's the key. Those two wanted it.
Let's hope it's a
And that is why it came to them. It came to them because they wanted it. They were open to it. They were looking for it. And that dove of peace came to those who were looking and wanted. Such a beautiful little film. Really quite moving, and I feel like it strikes just a beautiful balance of hope, reality, conveying the truth of how things are, how things could be. It doesn't fall too far towards the sentimental side, and yet it does burrow itself into our emotions, our feelings, and pulls our hearts in the right direction. And I can see why it. Well, I haven't watched very many short films, truth be told. I haven't. And I haven't watched a whole lot of animated stuff either. But what a beautiful, well-crafted little film with such an important message. And somehow I feel like it even elevates the song itself. Because it takes a song that has been around for decades and probably, well, a few people like me haven't known it for very long, but most people know it or have heard it. It becomes something very familiar. And the idea also is one that right now we might feel is a bit of a tired idea. Meaning, okay, you can say that and you can say that and you can say that, but our cynicism wants to rise up and say, yeah, but it's never going to happen. And for a film to take it and present the same idea, fresh, new, and tell us again the message of, if you want it, you will find. There is reason to hope that the dove will come to you, will come to your world, will come to your life. And if you are searching for that, then keep your eyes open, because it's bound to come. That sort of hope and looking, remaining open, not becoming completely closed off and cynical and becoming yet one more casualty of conflict in which our human and humane part of us is destroyed. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And now I feel inspired to share a little gift with you from me, from my world, that is the classical world. And it is the story, the same story, the story of war, of conflict, of bloodshed and loss of life, of soldiers, of different races, and of how music came and changed history in many ways. It is the story of how the Ninth Symphony, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, was first, for the very first time, introduced and heard in all of Asia. It's a fantastic story, and, wonder of wonders, it comes from World War I era. So it so happens that a large number of German soldiers were captured by the Japanese and taken as prisoner of war to Japan and held there in a prisoner of war camp. And, well, Germans being Germans, they managed to create a little orchestra, and eventually, during their time there, they put on a performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The prisoners themselves did. So it was not a really brutal camp. It was a camp in which they were allowed to have recreational activities, and they built a little stage and put on this performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It was the first time that symphony had ever been performed in all of Asia. Now, fast forward quite a few decades, that symphony, the introduction of that symphony, the knowledge of that symphony spread from that point on through Japan, and of course, other parts of Asia as well, but focused on Japan, and was embraced by the Japanese people. And they understood that it is about joy and coming together, oneness. And of course, oneness implies peace, doesn't it? And to this day, it is a tradition that every year, once a year, there's a performance of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in Japan, in which 10,000 Japanese people come together to sing the final chorus, Ode to Joy, as part of this performance. It is massive. Imagine 10,000 voices singing dum da 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 da, that fabulous tune with the orchestra. It's incredible. And I'm going to include, I'll have Vlad include the link to a little documentary about the Ninth Symphony, which also includes this story. So you can enjoy this as well as other examples of how this music, but broaden it out. Understand that all music, which brings the message of peace and oneness, can bind humanity together and bring us into a state of oneness and peace and war being over. So that is my gift to you. I hope you will watch it. I hope you will enjoy it. And I hope that you will share with me your feelings, your responses to the story as well. So, Merry Christmas to all of you. And whether or not you are religious, whether or not you celebrate the traditional Christmas message, the religious Christmas message, I wish this time to be one in which it is a message of peace and goodwill to all. And I mean all. Merry Christmas.